Today's episode is about a reality no teacher ever wants to face, but must be prepared for. Imagine standing in front of your classroom, the hum of student voices filling the air, when suddenly everything changes. In that moment, it's no longer about the lesson plans, it's about survival. In his powerful HBO short film, 1, 2, 3, All Eyes on Me, director Emil Gallardo captures this chilling scenario with raw authenticity, showing us the unimaginable decisions teachers must make to protect their students. But this film is more than just a story, it's a call to action, a conversation starter, and a testimonial to the silent bravery of educators everywhere. Today, Emil joins us to share the inspiration behind his film, his insights on school safety, and why he believes now more than ever, we must talk about protecting our children and supporting our teachers. This is Everything But the Lesson Plan, where we tackle the issues that go beyond the curriculum. I am your host, Francesca Thompson, and today we're diving into the heart of teachers' greatest fear and greatest responsibility. Thank you for joining us today, Mel. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited about our conversation. It's one that needs to be had. I will tell you now, I have watched this film twice because
Okay.
it's important, and I've told my coworkers about it as well.
Thank you for that. And I know it's not an easy film to watch, so I appreciate you, especially
Yeah.
watching it the second time, knowing what you're
Yes, yes.
about to watch.
So let me tell you this, your movie is raw, emotional, and incredibly impactful. What inspired you to create 1, 2, 3, All Eyes on Me?
It really came down to feeling kind of helpless, in general, I feel pretty empowered and powerful. Ever since I was a kid, I just felt like I could make a change in the world. But then these situations would happen and they would happen again and again and again. And every time they're so devastating and horrible, it's like the worst thing that I could imagine. And so it just felt like there was more that I could do. And as like a storyteller, I feel like empathy is kind of the main thing that if we're able to create empathy for others, I feel like that's where change begins. It's when you don't relate or something feels so foreign or different than you that it's hard to connect to it and advocate for it. So I felt like we all know intellectually that these incidences happen, right? That's not any new information, but at least just speaking for myself as an adult, when I was a kid, this wasn't a reality. It wasn't something we thought about or trained for.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to really bring adults into this situation so that they could feel and they could emotionally understand what this would be like. And hopefully from there, change would happen.
Yeah, if you and people who watch the film, it is an emotional connection. Like even if you're not in education, you feel it. You feel what those students, what those teachers are going through at that time, and it is real. Okay, it is real. It's such an important story to tell, especially now. So, what kind of research or preparation did you do to capture this experience?
So yeah, I did quite a bit. So everything from like listening to recordings, when people were calling 911
Mm,
as like live incidents were happening, to kind of understand like the terminology and the emotions and what is the process. On that front, like looking, it was at the time it was surprisingly kind of easy. You could go to a school, and a lot of times on their website, you could find their actual plan for how they handle these situations,
wow.
which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
And then we also interviewed several teachers, which is like where I got the name from for the film.
Mm,
But yeah, really kind of understanding like what are their perspectives. And I talked to different teachers around the country, one of whom here in LA, she had been in an active shooter situation,
mm,
a little different where people were shooting at each other and the school was right next to where they were shooting, but
mm,
nonetheless, like full lockdown. It was during like a science fair or something, so all the parents were there, and I remember her telling me that all the students had trained on this so frequently that they knew exactly what to do, and they
Mm,
ran to the closest room and locked themselves inside. But their parents aren't trained on that and had no idea what to do. So in like seconds, they lose their kid. They have
uh,
no idea which room they're in, and just the terror of that. So she kind of went into that with me. So everything from kind of talking to teachers to just doing research online and everything in between.
yeah, and I'm glad that you got the teacher's perspective. Sometimes we feel left out, um,
Yeah,
and um, we feel like some of these issues that are really important, like what's in this film, are not talked about. And so I'm glad that you created this because I think people need to know what school looks like now. Okay, it
right,
didn't look
right,
like this 30, 40 years ago. I hope
right,
that's correct. But what does it look like now? What is showing up to class look like? What do you have to prepare for? When I was in school, we just had to do fire drills,
right.
okay, and
Same.
severe weather drills.
Yep,
But now as a teacher, we're doing hard lockdowns, and I'm like, gosh, just things change so quickly.
yep. Yeah, same in LA. We grew up with fire drills and earthquake drills.
Yes. Oh gosh, not the earthquake drills. That's
Yeah,
scary too.
yeah, but nothing like this. I mean, it wasn't a reality at the time.
No. So the movie raises serious questions about school safety. In your opinion, what more can be done to protect our students and our teachers from crises like this?
Yeah, thank you for asking me that question.
Hmm.
Um, the film came out a couple years ago, so there have been a lot of reviews online and comments online since.
Mm,
Um, and some of the people who their takeaway from the film is that teachers should be armed. I just want to put
mm,
this on record that that is 180 degrees from how I personally feel.
yeah,
I think teachers have plenty of responsibility as it is. This is not their job.
yeah,
I don't think adding more guns into the equation is going to hurt less people.
mm,
So people are free to have their own interpretation and take from the film what they want, but that is not where I'm coming from or what I am advocating.
yeah,
The two things that I think we can do are obviously to lean on our politicians and have more responsible gun laws. However, I know that that is a big, long, lengthy, complicated process.
yeah,
Um, I'll leave it there. The
yeah,
other thing I think we can do, which we can do now, we can do today, we can do around the country immediately, is start educating one another on the warning signs of mass shooters, specifically around schools. And when it's appropriate, I can get into my next project, but it deals with that. But there are warning signs, clinically researched, proven warning signs. This research has been done since Columbine. So children, parents, faculty, neighbors, friends, you name it, all of us, if we can make this knowledge common. And so when we start to see the warning signs very early on, that can be brought to the attention of the appropriate people and we can intervene prior to any violence
yeah.
occurring for anybody.
Yeah, you know what? Didn't even think of that. And I love that idea because I'm like every new teacher training, every back to school training, we have meetings at the beginning of the school year, go through these professional developments that deal with warning signs for child abuse and all of that. And
Right.
so I think this is something that must be added.
Yeah, I think again it's a sad reality, but it is a reality.
Hmm.
Um, the access to weapons, to guns, to high-powered guns is there. And so, if someone with the right intent, in the right mindset, in the right circumstance, it's not hard for there to be a lot of people that are wounded or killed, unfortunately. And so I think that that does make this a real topic and something that I do think should be commonplace.
Yeah. So you depicted the teacher's perspective in so much depth. What message do you hope that educators take away from watching your film?
For educators that they're understood that, I mean, in the interviews that I was doing with the teachers as we were writing the script, one thing that I asked all of them, and again, none of them knew each other, different parts of the country, but I asked if there were one thing that you want us to get right, just about your job and your day-to-day experience doing this job, what would that be? And it was surprising. I got the same answer. And they all said that our job is really challenging, that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes kids show up and they're hungry or they haven't slept or they got into a fight with their parents or they're really excited and they're hopped up on sugar or whatever. Like we don't know day to day what's going to be thrown at us. And then you get into like not feeling valued and not having enough resources. And like you said, kind of bringing your own resources and just they kind of painted this picture that really helped me understand how challenging this profession is
Mm-hmm.
without even all the violence and everything else. So I really wanted to recreate that and like help teachers see themselves and Miss Lena, our teacher, our character in our film, as just an ode and a way to like honor all the sacrifice and the love and commitment that teachers around the country, around the world really like have for their students and how important they are.
Yeah, and I'm sure you got a lot of positive responses from the teaching community.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were pretty successful. There are people that have their criticisms, this is not how we would do it here and there, but overall we did not have a teacher on set with us. Um, so we kind of recreated what we had written with the research that we had done.
Yeah.
But yeah, by and large, I think we did it. We were successful in accomplishing that and helping teachers feel seen and appreciated.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What's next for you? Do you plan to continue exploring themes related to education and crisis?
Yes, so out of this short film came the opportunity to write and direct a feature film, and it's exactly what I was talking about. It's called Warning Signs. It is
Mhm.
based on the Warning Signs book written by Dr. Peter Langman. He's written 3 books on the subject. He talks around the country about this subject. And like I said, they've done a lot of research and put together a bunch of hard facts, and then they came to us in terms of like finding a way to make this an engaging story that people would want to watch for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I'm currently at the end of developing that with a production company, and that will be my first feature film called Warning Signs.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Definitely.
you.
And just thank you so much for doing this work, and just, being a voice for educators for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, it's always an honor to talk about something that you've created, and you don't always you make it and it goes out into the world,
Mhm.
and you don't know how it's going to be received. So I very much appreciate you having me on and giving me the chance to talk more about the film.
Yes, thank you. Before we wrap up, how can listeners watch 123 All Eyes on Me and follow your work? I'm sure a lot of people want to follow what you're doing.
Yeah, so 123 is available right now on HBO Max,
Hmm.
only in the US. It's not available in any other country yet, but we are working on that.
Hmm.
And then as far as following me, Instagram is probably the easiest way. So my personal Instagram is Emil, Emil, the letter G, and then the number 80. And then also my production company is Waterlight Films, also on Instagram.
Perfect. And I will definitely make sure that is in our show notes so that you guys can follow him. And I hope you guys can watch the movie. It's really, really something that's going to just kind of change your perspective on what goes on in the classroom and how we need to support teachers. So I really appreciate you putting this together for sure. Any other things you want to leave before we close it out today?
No, again, I really appreciate you having me. It's an honor to be here and to get to talk about this.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on. And to our listeners, remember to check out 123 All Eyes on Me. Let's keep the conversation going because protecting our students and our teachers, it matters, y'all. So until next time, keep teaching, keep thriving, and take care of yourselves.